I'm disappointed in myself today. I'm disappointed in myself a little bit every day, let's be real, but today especially. And you know why? Because I had really planned to have something different be posted today. So in this space that you are watching right now, I planned something else. I planned something that was, maybe a little higher production quality, a little more complex in the filming and editing aspect of things, but I didn't succeed. Yeah, it just turned out to be way too much time, way too much effort. It required me to go to way too many different locations. And so I was like, well, that's definitely not going to get done for Thursday. So I gotta come up with something else. And what is easier than just doing a chatty video on a topic that is of interest to me, a topic that's on my mind. And what topic has been on my mind? What is the only topic that's been on my mind this week? It is the topic of posting videos every day. That's about all I feel actually capable of talking about because this process has absolutely consumed my life. I have been just constantly working on it, constantly filming something or editing something or thinking about what am I going to do next or planning my schedule for filming or waking up in the middle of the night worried about whether I've done all that I need to do for the videos, worried whether I'm going to stick to my schedule and then, oh no, the schedule fails. I have to ask, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I making a video every day? But to understand why I'm doing this to myself, I need to take you back. I need to take you back to a Saturday morning not too many weeks ago when I was sitting in my living room contemplating the impending end of a very long-term freelance contract. Now, I've talked about this a lot in this past week because, again, it's one of those other things that's been very much on my mind, how the end of this freelance contract has very much spelled the end of income for me for this phase of my life. And so I'm sitting here contemplating, I'm not going to have any money coming in after Tuesday. And also I was sitting there kind of looking at my YouTube stats and thinking, this is fairly lackluster, actually. Now, I had been posting to YouTube for about 5 months, weekly videos at this point, trying my absolute best, trying to make stuff that I hoped people would want to watch, and yet just nothing had been taking off to the level that I wanted it to. And I was thinking, well, I don't know about going back immediately to working for an employer, but one thing I could do is try to grow my YouTube channel. And one way I know I could do that is potentially by making daily videos, because surely then YouTube might like me better and might show me to more people and I might gain some traction, maybe. I mean, it's worth a try. It's better than going and getting a 9-to-5 in my opinion. So that's what I decided to do. And this then brings us to the underlying reason why I'm doing all of this to myself. And it is, drum roll please, I'm calling this section the tension between my dreams and my economic reality. So I started posting videos, not daily videos, just general weekly videos for 2 main reasons. Well, in addition to, of course, the fact that I find it fun and have long envied the lives of vloggers. And I'm not just talking about famous rich vloggers. I'm talking about just people who had the courage to post their lives online. And I thought it looked so fun. And I thought it's so cool then that they have this documentation of what they were doing and what they were thinking. And oh, I wish I could do that, but I can't because I'm scared or I think I wouldn't have anything to talk about. And then I was just why don't I just try it? Why don't I just see what happens? And so in addition to that, in addition to the fun of it, in addition to maybe hopefully one day a certain community building element that I've heard this could have, I also had 2 more, let's call them economically motivated or dreams motivated reasons for doing this. The first reason is, I'm going to say, a more old-fashioned reason for posting videos to YouTube. This kind of goes back to the days when YouTube was not a job. Like, people joined the platform not because they thought, oh, like I can get all these followers and all this money and all this fame. Like, no, people just kind of did it because oftentimes they had something else they wanted to do. And having a platform like YouTube allowed them to maybe get closer to this thing. So like you could have someone who wants to be a filmmaker and they post videos to YouTube to show their filmmaking skills, or someone who wants to be a TV presenter, an actor, a comedian, you know, something in the performing arts. And so then when you go to a production company or something and say, hey, make my movie, you can point to the fact that you've done all this and they can watch it and they can be like, great. You know, so it's a good way to kind of like make a name for yourself from nothing, I guess. So I've talked before about how I have this, you know, potentially foolish aspiration to write a novel or potentially several novels at some point in my life. And one of the things I knew about the publishing industry is that, well, unfortunately, you kind of have to have a social media following in order to even be considered as a first-time writer, or that is what I've heard. I have done a bit of research into this industry. I have like looked into what do you need to do to like get your book seen by the right person. And if you can point to a following and say, hey, like I have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, they care about what I have to say, they might buy my book, well, you have a much better chance of like getting your book into the right hands. But then also, as I've been making videos, I've really been tapping into like the performance element of it. I've been really actually like quite liking it. I've been thinking, wow, it also would be really interesting if this could open doors to work in some more visual medium, to work in film potentially. Also, like I would not be averse to exploring screenwriting. Any of these things could be very fun. And I do see this as a way to potentially get my voice out there, potentially build connections to the right people. You know the drill. Going on to the second reason why I started a YouTube channel, this is like the more obvious one that I've kind of already referenced, which is that, of course, if you have enough success, this can be a revenue generating mechanism in and of itself. Now, by this point, I am well aware of the difficulty of managing a full-time job with like doing any kind of creative pursuit. Like when I was working full-time for an employer, as well really as when I was working freelance and like had these projects that ended up taking basically all of my time, even though technically I could like set my own schedule, but I really couldn't. Like back when I was in that position, like if I was writing seriously, I could maybe write for a couple of hours a day. And like in this time, I could maybe squeeze out one personal essay every 3 months or so. And that was just not enough. Like it did not feel satisfying. I did not feel like this is the way I'm going to become like a real serious writer. I was just like, not gonna work. And so then another promise of doing something on social media, potentially having success on social media, is this idea that, well, then that would allow me this autonomy over my own time. If I can make money through doing this thing that I already find fun and that I already want to do, if I can make that happen, then I am the master of my own time. I can do what I want with my own time, and that would then allow me to dedicate more time to like the projects I just want to do, but that will be unpaid, possibly forever. Maybe not, but possibly forever. Like I can't bank on the fact that even if I do write a novel that it would get picked up by anyone. I don't know. And I also can't bank on the fact that it would sell any copies. I also don't know. That is something I do just because I like doing it and because I feel like it would be fulfilling, but I can't guarantee that any of that will take shape. So in the meantime, though, it would be amazing to be able to take enough time to do those projects and to also feel like I'm not gonna go bankrupt. I know, of course, that I could give up on all these naive fantasies. Some would say at my age, I really should. But the thing is, I just find that I'm not ready to give up on these naive fantasies. I don't want to give up the dream of writing a book or working on some really cool creative project that goes out and changes the world. Like, I can't give up on that dream still. And when I had this swath of time suddenly open up in my schedule, I just could not, like, in good conscience, go back to just looking for another big freelance contract or go back into a full-time 9-to-5 job. I just needed to try something different. And I needed to see, for reasons listed above, if I could make it work on social media. And so here I am. Here I am posting every day, even though it's hard, even though it's exhausting, even though right now I am working on like 5 videos as we speak, whether that's in filming stage or editing stage or planning stage. Like, they are in active production, and I'm feeling quite tired. Honestly, like, I'm not loving this. I mean, I say every day, like, I can't wait to be done posting every day. Like, wow, I really miss my old weekly posting schedule when I actually felt like I had time to think something through and I wasn't constantly worried about, ooh, can I like stick to the schedule I set for myself? Am I going to fall off the schedule that I set for myself? Like, I hope not, because like, oh, this feels like the only way. So like, what is it like doing this? It's like, it's hard. It's hard. And, maybe it would be easier if I did just do like, oh, just follow me around every day for like a couple of weeks and just like put that all together, whatever. But then I also put a lot of pressure on myself to like have everything have some kind of point, to try to make some sort of point in every single video, even if like that might not be clear to everyone else. It is clear to me. Like, I always know what I want the point to be. I don't know if the point always gets across, but like, I want it to basically like have some kind of value, to be interesting or artistic or fun to watch or funny or thought-provoking. I want it to just do something. And so I think I am putting a lot more pressure on myself to make it do something than maybe I should be. And maybe if I'd like undertaken this experiment with a little bit more like of a reasonable expectation for what type of content I can create, it might have been a lot easier. But as it stands, I'm pushing hard. It feels hard. It feels tiring. This is not like an announcement of like, oh, I'm going to stop, because I feel like I've come this far. I am over halfway. I can make it through to the end. I just have to keep going. But here we are. I mean, and I guess like really, I'm just here hoping that this whole project will succeed in some way, and maybe it will bring me closer to a match between dreams and reality. Okay. So hi, it's me, Thursday morning, from the editor's chair or whatever, the director's chair, the editor's chair, I don't know. Anyway, I had a few more thoughts, and I think that I explained a lot about my motivations, but I really glossed over how this feels. And I don't know if I was glossing over because my feelings hadn't completely developed yet, or because I was holding back for some reason, but I do have more thoughts. And okay, first of all, let me just say I'm grateful to have platforms like YouTube, like whatever else people might use, that can allow people who have creative ambitions, aspirations, who want to make something but don't have connections in any industry like me, that allow them a place to put their stuff and potentially connect with people who like their stuff. I'm grateful for that. I don't know what my life would be like if I didn't have this. I don't know if I would be better off or worse off if I'd been born, say, like, I don't know, 50 years before I was. I'm not sure. It would have been a different world. I can say that. And I don't know if I would have had as much access to the tools to create and the tools to distribute what I want to distribute. So yeah, grateful. But in this week, I felt overwhelmingly like I am creating for the platform and not for myself. And like, for context, naturally, I'm like a really, really slow creator. Like, I'm a slow writer. I like to take my time. I like to think things through. I like to feel them out. Like, the best possible thing I could imagine doing is just like going outside for a day with a notebook and just like seeing what ideas arise. No agenda, just whatever thoughts and feelings come up are valid and fair. And maybe I'll write something down, maybe I won't. Like, that's the dream. Like, if my life could be that, if I could have that every day or a few times a week where I could just go outside with no agenda and think and feel and write, like, that would be the best. That would be the best possible life, potentially. And maybe that's what I'm trying to get at by like posting somewhere like YouTube, is to get to a point where that could be a reality for me. But right now, it is very much not. And it feels almost like this weird trade-off where it's like, to potentially have a shot at getting to that reality, it's like, I have to put my little video tickets into the lottery system of YouTube every day to see if one of them's going to get picked up. And the more that I can submit, the more chances I have of having that life that I desire. And yet it also just does feel so uncomfortable and so unnatural. And I feel like I'm racing through making stuff, not really thinking, just frantically posting, doing. And I'm not enjoying that aspect of it. I don't know. I mean, who knows how it'll turn out in the end, but right now it's not great. And now, second of all, I have said that what this feels like, honestly, to me, is the opposite of creativity. It feels like I'm very much not creating anything artistic. I am creating literally content. I am feeding the machine. I am trying to choose things that I feel like the machine will like. And that also feels kind of uncomfortable. And I'm not, like, that part of the process too, like, I'm not loving. And again, it seems like this gamble where I have to just try that in the hope that then if I do this for long enough, then I will get to a point where I have enough of a following that I can do what I like, I guess, maybe. Is that the bargain? I think that's the bargain. And it's like, it seems a little unfair sometimes. Like, why does this have to be the way? I don't know. So it's been a hard week. I just have had a lot of thoughts and feelings about this. Like, I really thought that it would feel different. Like, I really thought this would like kickstart some creative process for me. I really thought that I would feel super motivated and inspired, and I would want to just keep going, and I'd be, I don't know, seeing more people watch my stuff and be like, yeah, I just feel like let's create more and more and more and faster. And yet now I'm just like, I really want to slow down. I have told myself, though, I'm going to keep doing this through the end of the month. I want to finish what I started. I'm going to try to finish what I started. No guarantees, but I really do want to do my best, because also the curiosity to see where this goes is enough to keep me going for now. Like, I do really want to see, okay, so stuff is happening. Like, definitely on some level, the plan is working. More people are seeing what I'm posting, and that's amazing. That's great. But where does it lead? Where does it end? You know, is it going to get so much better? Maybe I will like overcome some perfectionism in this way, and that will be a benefit to me in the future. Or maybe I will get better at creating a little bit quicker, and I won't have to take so much time to painstakingly think through every single thought. Maybe, you know, because that can also be a little bit annoying sometimes, to be honest. Like, I like it, but I don't like it. You know what I mean? And so I just needed to come and say this, like, give more of that kind of, I don't know, platform context, because it's an odd world that we live in as people who want to make something. It is an odd world where you have to play all these games and jump through all these hoops, and maybe that's how it's always been to be any kind of creative in any time, but it definitely is an odd one today, where it's like you have to play the game of really like suppressing your natural creative tendencies, maybe, in order to potentially exercise them in the future.